This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
You know, everybody says how expensive college is.
Yeah, well, it is.
Well,
yeah.
although, so my wife, my lovely bride, Michelle, which the way I just said that means I have more than one bride. I don't. I just have one bride.
Just the one.
We went to Culver's. Like, I don't know, last Thursday.
Okay.
It was like $24.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Right, you know? And I'm like,
yeah,
this is gold, man. It's like no drinks. We just got the food, one thing of cheese curds, and that's it. Yeah, we've cracked the code here.
So, are you saying that that's a good price or that's outrageous?
No, I think it's a good price compared to the.
Okay.
You know, when we had 3 kids at home, it was
all right.
$100. Now, granted, we're paying $17,000 a year in just tuition alone for each of the kids.
I really think you need to go back to the math.
But I was really excited. I mean, I was totally excited going through Culver's. Like, oh, this is great.
During the theme here, during the intro, we're going to sit you down. We're going to talk math, and I'm going to explain the whole thing to you because I'm super, super good at that.
Okay,
all right,
sure.
Because it's time.
But no, I mean, it was
time for Minutia Men.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
It's cheap. Yeah, we should have done this years ago, sending them to college.
Yeah. Oh, you mean just the fact that it's just the two of you going out and the kids aren't with you?
Yeah.
You know, Bridget and I have been doing that for 33 years.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you don't ever take the kids out to dinner?
No, screw them.
Yeah.
What have they ever done for us?
Well, Tommy's eating every day I see him with his noodles or his crackers and cheese, which is all that he eats, right?
Yeah, he really doesn't cost us much. I'll be honest with you. He's doing fine.
Is he a ramen noodle guy?
No, he's
crackers and cheese,
quesadillas, and crackers and cheese, and then whatever I make for dinner,
and a noodle,
and waffles for breakfast.
Okay, that's
so
good.
Yes. You got a story for us?
Yeah, we do. Hey, this comes out of near your home.
Okay,
Austria.
Oh yes, you know my mother was born in Austria.
Mm-hmm. Was it Austria then?
Yes.
Okay.
And my father lived in Austria for several years after the war.
Okay, well, yeah. Austrian surgeon let teenage daughter drill hole in patient's skull. Following a forestry accident in January, a 33-year-old man was flown by air ambulance to Graz University.
Oh, I've been to Graz.
Okay, it's Graz. Graz University Hospital in Styria? I don't know. With serious and life-threatening injuries. I mean,
oh, yeah, right.
You know, forestry accidents. There's never he had a mild forestry accident, right?
Exactly.
It's always a big thing.
Right.
So they fly, he has this accident. They fly him to this university, and the attending neurosurgeon, Dr. Joseph Mengele, actually, that wasn't really his name. They redacted his name, allegedly let his 13-year-old daughter drill a hole in the patient's skull during surgery.
Well, how's she going to learn? How's she going to learn if you don't teach her?
While the operation was said to have gone off without an issue, the patient still can't work because a tree fell on him or whatever. Right, it's not the kid's fault, right? But it wasn't until April when an anonymous complaint was logged to the public prosecutor's office that the guy knew that a 13-year-old daughter or 13-year-old girl did the surgery, drilled the hole. So he had no clue until somebody made a complaint. Yeah. And then the hospital, they fired Dr. Mengele and his assistant.
Then the strudel hit the fan.
Right. But they have not, up till when this article was written, the patient had not gotten contacted by the hospital yet. I'm sorry. Because don't Germans in Austria, they apologize freely, don't they?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
So as of right now, the patient and the hospital have not talked yet. First of all, a couple of things. First of all, this might come as a surprise to you, but I'm 60. And I can't use a drill.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Kudos to this 13-year-old kid that's able to this young craftsman. So, by the way, and this is ironic that this happened. I think ironic's the right word. I got a group family text yesterday from Michelle. We have a group text. Do you guys have a...
No.
You don't have a group?
No.
How do you guys communicate with one another?
We don't.
Wow. That's brilliant. Wow, that is great.
Yeah.
So she had we have a text that she goes to all the family members, and it was, and I'm reading this verbatim. Does anyone know where my needle nose pliers are? Okay. And my favorite tool is missing. That was the text.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, she's got a favorite tool. Do you have a favorite tool?
I do not.
No.
It's me drill.
And then Julia responds, maybe Dad used it, with a smiley face.
Oh, ouch.
Okay, which was followed by laughing emojis from the entire family.
Ouch.
So,
well, this is why we don't have group text, because
you'd just be made fun of all the time.
It would be the same thing here.
So the doctor obviously is the bad guy for bringing his daughter to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the bad guy.
Was it Take Your Kid to Work Day? It might have been.
But I've got a couple of Take Your Kid to Work Day fails throughout history.
Oh,
fantastic,
yeah.
I've got a couple. I'm going to start with this one and see how it goes, and then maybe we won't do the second one. But during a make-or-break Zoom call with international investors, Rick Halpern. Okay. Don't you love it when they say Richard and then the nickname Rick Halpern?
Yeah.
CEO of Halpern Global Ventures made the mistake of ignoring his 9-year-old daughter, Chloe, for one or two, it was during the pandemic. He was, absent father, even though you're right next to each other, right? Well, Chloe was fed up with her father's constant neglect and decided to show him exactly how much attention that she could actually command.
Yeah.
So midway through Rick's polished presentation to investors from Argus Capital, Chloe secretly learned his passwords and hacked into his laptop. Suddenly, the investors, including Martin Grant and Sophia Martinez, 2 billionaires, were no longer seeing the expected revenue projections. Instead, they were hit with Rick's private Google searches, including how to manipulate stock prices without getting caught.
Oh, my God.
And best offshore accounts to hide money. So
this is a 9-year-old girl did this?
9-year-old. She may not have understood what the searches were.
Yeah.
But she's just put up what the recent searches were.
Wow.
Needless to say, Rick did not make the sale. And so...
she could have drilled a hole in somebody. I think by the time she's 13, she could easily do that.
Absolutely. Here's another one. In March of 2023, Martin Flores, a cybersecurity expert for a Fortune 50 company. So not even Fortune 500. So these are big
time.
ones. He's from Jackson, Mississippi. They've got computers in Mississippi?
Yeah, only in Jackson. Only
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he prides himself on protecting his company from cyber attacks. His 7-year-old daughter, Caitlin, while he stepped out for coffee, she just started getting on his computer and just hit buttons randomly and triggered a system-wide lockout. Panic, buzzers going all over, people running, with accordions or whatever running. $14 million it cost to get the systems back online.
Yeah. How long do you ground a kid for that?
Yeah. But I mean, they got on Minutia Men.
Yeah,
so it's all
true.
good at this point.
You notice these are all girls doing this and not boys?
I researched Take Your Daughter to work because of the surgeon's daughter.
Okay. Well, I have a story for you that also is about the youth of the world. Hong Kong is desperately trying to cut down the teen sex rate, encourage their youngsters to remain chaste until marriage.
Well, no one's having kids in China, right? So don't they? Should they?
This is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is
a little. It's like the Austin of Texas.
I think so. It's really not that much different than what happens here. I mean, we have churches that make kids do chastity pledges and what have you. They're trying to bring the teen sex rate down. There, they have a slightly different suggestion for how to do this. Is badminton the Hong Kong answer to sexual impulses in school children? The South China Morning Post newspaper asked in a headline over the weekend. Badminton. The article quotes government officials who say that playing badminton is a good way to get rid of your sexual energy. Needless to say, this has brought on a bit of a mockery amongst the youth of Hong Kong.
Boys playing badminton, they're never getting laid. So I can see the method to this madness. Yeah.
Oh, listen to this, though. Hong Kong teenagers are finding it pretty amusing. A few said on social media that the officials behind the policy have their heads in the clouds. Others have worked it into sexual slang. Yeah. They now talk about having friends with badminton instead of friends with benefits.
Sure, okay.
Young people in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan often use slang to talk about sex, just like their peers around the world. if your date asks you in China or Hong Kong or Taiwan to go back to their place to watch my cat do backflips.
Oh, is that?
That means something.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now.
That it seems a little verbose. Don't you think?
Watch my cat do backflips?
Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, it's a visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, cat can be used in there are other words that,
Sure.
Right.
But I think they could benefit from a Rick Comfort to tighten that up a little bit.
Now, thanks to Hong Kong's Education Bureau, new slang is in play. I want to play badminton with you is something that people say.
Sure. Is that a birdie in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Well, here's the thing. Of all the sports they could pick, badminton is literally the only one that uses the word cock all the time. It's a shuttlecock. That's the name of the thing that they use it for.
Yes.
I mean, it's
synergy.
It's like they're looking for it. Is that your shuttlecock, or are you just happy to see me?
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
I dated a badminton player once.
Who? I mean,
I met her in the middle of the court. Her name was Annette. I'm sorry.
Was that CG?
That was an AI joke? No, it was not. That was mine.
Okay, that's not bad. What other ones you got?
That's all I got. I was working through Shuttlecock. I was working through
Birdie. Net.
There's really
net. I can see your process going right.
There's not a lot there.
You met Annette. That's great. Hey, we got a review. You want to hear it?
Yes.
This is from PDS Kirk.
Oh, okay.
Rick and Dave bring a lot of entertainment to their listeners with every episode. Not only is the show funny with good news stories and silly banter. Silly banter?
Yeah. Kind of hurts.
Silly? Yeah.
Kind of hurts.
But there are some really good interviews as well. And on top of this, the audio quality is on point, and we should thank Tony Lozano for the great audio.
Wow, mention the audio quality. That's great.
Yeah. So please review, subscribe, do all that stuff.
A 5-star review wouldn't kill you. A 5-star review would not kill you. All right, it's time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we dip into the Rick and Dave archives, which go back 40 years. 40 years of content that the two of us have come up with in one way, shape, or form over the years.
Although I think this was the first badminton bit we ever did.
Well, next time there's a badminton anniversary, we can play it back.
When's the parody song? That's what you got to start. You got to start.
Shuttlecock. Let me work on that. I think I can come up with something there. Well, this week in 1995, Dave, the biggest story in the news was Congressman Mel Reynolds. Do you remember this?
Mel Reynolds, sure. With the 13-year-old girl.
I think it was a 16-year-old.
Okay,
yes,
but there was some shenanigans.
He was on trial for contact with an underage girl. He emphatically denied it. I listened to the denial the other day, and it's like Bill Clinton. Right. I did not have sexual relations with that. I mean, it was emphatic.
What do you mean by I? Or what is
the definition of is?
Yeah.
But it was like, if you watch that guy, you'd be like, wow, he's really offended.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem. This is the problem. There were phone recordings.
Yeah, right.
This woman, her name was Beverly Hurd. She was 16 years old. She had phone recordings. In those phone recordings, which was huge in Chicago, he asked her to show up to his office wearing a peach bra and peach panties. He encouraged her to bring another girl with so he could watch them together. And it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, right.
That something more was going on.
He was not using, let's play badminton.
No, he was not. And then she testified against him in court and said that Mel made her grab, little Mel, outside the East Bank Club. Yeah, exactly. And it was the front page of every newspaper in town. And, of course,
he went to jail.
He was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
He was a U.S. congressman.
He was a sitting congressman in the United States, which, it makes me feel better that we've been going through this for years now.
But now, I mean, what I was saying is it almost seems quaint
It does.
by the standards now.
Well, that's true.
Right, but yeah.
But this happened in the 1990s, Dave. You know what that means.
Okay.
Yeah, because,
your code is not hard to crack.
It's really not. This was a little song I called the Beverly Hurdbillies. Because her name was Beverly Hurd.
Okay. All right.
Listen to a story about a man named Mel and Beverly Hurd, who spent some time in jail. Took her to dinner at the East Bank Club, and then in his car he had something to rub. But not Beverly Hurd, that is. Prosecution finally got her on the stand. Told the story of a gland in a hand about Mel Reynolds, who met frequently with a girl of 16 by the name of Beverly Hurd, that is. Mel said, hey, come join my caucus. We'll do a little three-way here in the office. Bring peach bras and peach panties and another little girl that might like a Beverly Hurd, that is. Doesn't even like men. Can you believe it?
Yeah, you get the idea. Wait, I'm dancing. I'm line dancing.
Landecker's really committed to that.
Oh, yeah.
He committed to the shtick on this one.
Yeah.
Were you playing on the banjo? Is that you on the banjo?
Yeah, that's me.
Nice. There you go.
The Beverly Hurdbillies.
Well, we haven't. When was our last Illinois scandal politically?
Yeah, it's kind of a dry period for us. Ed Burke just went to jail as an alderman. So, we've got it.
Well, we had Barack faking his birth certificate.
Well, I can't forget that.
Hey, I got another story. We're ripping through these.
No, that's all right. That's fine.
This is kind of, as we're publishers, as you know.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
And here's a book about books.
Oh.
Yeah, for those of you out there.
You mean a story about books.
Right. A suspected burglar caught after sitting down with a good book. Oh. A would-be burglar in Rome. You've been to Rome, haven't you?
Yeah.
You like Rome?
Yeah. Have you been?
No.
I got my camera stolen there.
Really?
So that's maybe not my favorite place, but...
Was it a guy on a bike?
Yeah, I was right off of my shoulder.
That's what. Was he on a bike? Or
no, just ran.
Really?
And I was 30, and you think as a 30-year-old I would have been fit enough to chase him, but I was not.
When were you diagnosed with gout?
Not till I was in my 50s.
But elephantitis was something from high school.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the elephantitis? How was there a flare up?
I was 19. Huh?
How were you having a flare up at the point?
It wasn't painful. I just had a fat leg.
Yeah, but you couldn't. It wasn't difficult to run.
Yeah.
So you had a disability.
Okay. All right. You know what? Yes, you're right.
Don't beat yourself up.
You're right.
So suspected burglar caught after sitting down with a book. A would-be burglar in Rome was caught after stopping to read a book on Greek mythology in the middle of a theft.
Well, that man is a man of letters.
30-year-old reportedly, the 30-year-old reportedly gained access to a flat in the Italian Prati district. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure it's very nice. Via the balcony, but became distracted after picking up a book about Homer's Iliad on the bedside table.
Okay.
So he's, picking up candlesticks and stuff, right?
Right.
I think that all burglaries start with a candlestick. Right?
Think so?
Right. In all the movies and the
more likely than Homer's Iliad. Yes.
The 71-year-old homeowner is said to have awoken and confronted the alleged. Can you do a Rome or Italian accent?
Not without. I use my hands.
Okay.
But
he says, he confronts the burglar and
the moon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you just did that with a finger.
Yeah.
So basically. He got caught.
Okay.
But the author found out that this dude was reading his book, couldn't finish it, obviously. So he sent us.
I thought you said the book was Homer's Iliad.
It was a book about Homer's
Oh,
Iliad.
I was going to say that was written like 4,000 years ago.
No, it's a book. It was like the Cliff Notes of Homer's Iliad.
Gotcha.
I think.
Okay.
So right, yeah, Homer actually was contacted. Got it. Here's an autograph from Homer, so he sent the book to this guy who they're not naming in prison.
Oh,
He's
that's
now
nice.
Right, signed. You know, it was really nice.
We should tell all our authors to do that.
Well, hey, all publicity is good publicity.
It is.
Right. So I did a little research, and when I say research, I basically just Googled the top 10 books that are read in prison.
Oh, this should be good.
Yeah. So there's 10 here. Father Knows Nothing and Every Cub Ever have not made this list.
What about the Loop Files?
The Loop Files. Well, you know that I sent Blago your book, Every Cub Ever, while he was in prison.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. He never thanked me. Yeah, but
that's not cool.
I said it.
He's been going around doing Elvis shows.
I know. Right. Doing Jailhouse Rock. Right? That's the big song is Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so 10 books.
All right.
That are most read.
Mein Kampf.
No, Mein Kampf
was written in prison.
Right. Maybe for the Austrian story.
Yeah.
That would have been. Give me another one.
Oh, boy. I don't know. The Bible.
Number one.
Okay.
The Bible. Right. Because let's say you get a life sentence, pick a big book.
Yeah.
That you have to reread because you don't understand.
Right.
Anything.
Exactly.
The autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay.
A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. I did a little research on it. It's basically a book about how white people have screwed black people for the entire world, which
is true.
Yeah. The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Okay.
The 48 Powers of Power.
Don't know that one.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that one takes place in a prison.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Maybe you should have read that before you went to prison. The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Color Blindness.
There seems to be a theme here.
Right. Man's Search for Meaning.
All right.
And Harry Potter series.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it's just kind of an interesting little list, right?
I like that. I have a story for you. Actually, this is 2 stories. I hate to double up on you, but here we go.
It was at the Certs commercials where it was two mints in one.
That's right. The police in New Zealand are trying on Wednesday to recover chunks of methamphetamine that a local charity accidentally gave out because they were disguised as candy. They were actually small blocks of meth. Each weighed about 3 grams, 0.1 ounce, packed up to 300 doses of the drug, according to the head of the
Candy Meth Company
Drug Foundation, which examined it. So I would like to give them credit for the creative packaging.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
Number one. Not to be outdone, here's the other story. A truckload of meth disguised as a shipment of watermelons was seized at the U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said the meth, valued at more than $5 million, was found on August 16th when the cargo aboard a tractor trailer was unloaded for detailed inspection. Among the real watermelons, they found 1,220 packages wrapped in paper, colored to look like watermelon skins. So it's like, imagine a giant ball of meth that was wrapped in paper and painted green.
Little white stripes and
little dots, little red, green dots. So it looks like watermelon.
What do they use? A Vellum Bristol? Would they use a 10-point coated one? That I don't know. What kind of
packaging? You got to give them credit, right?
Absolutely,
I think Walter White would be proud of this.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that the mistake that they're making is they're putting it in things that people want. So they're looking closer at it, like candy. You want to see the candy or the watermelon. You want to see the watermelon because everyone loves watermelon, right? So I have a different suggestion of what they should use.
Let me try to spitball here.
All right.
Use products that no one gives a crap about.
Right.
And then you put it in there and they'll be like, all right, go ahead.
Right.
Titus, go through.
For instance, my suggestion, Shuttlecocks. Badminton Shuttlecocks.
I don't know. It seems to be pretty popular for the Asian shipments.
All right. That's my whole suggestion.
I was thinking that they they should have repackaged. Well, I mean, this is to distribute meth and candy.
Yeah.
I mean, MNMDA.
Oh.
The
marketing.
I can't turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the only one I could come up with.
Well, that's not bad.
I tried crystal meth, or what was the crystal candy? Remember the candy that looked like
rock candy?
Yeah. Something you could have done.
It's a little too on the nose, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But MNMDA is
not
hard
bad.
to get all 4 letters on the little.
I'll give
pieces,
it to you.
but-
It's time for another feature.
A random name pulled out of Rick's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we invite listener participation. People send in their stories about brushes with celebrities. And this week we got one from Gottfried, Gottfried. Gottfried. Hey guys, fellow German here.
I was gonna say he really liked the Austrian.
I worked in New York on Madison Avenue for a few years at an advertising agency, and one of the celebs that came in to do a lot of commercial work was Estelle Harris.
Was she the Golden Girl? Was she a Golden Girl?
No. She played George Costanza's mom on Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
And was a voice actor for Mrs. Potato Head. Can you picture her?
Yeah,
Yeah. In the Toy Story movie. She was in that. Her voice was really distinctive, kind of like a Brooklyn screech.
No.
One time she was recording a commercial with us, and I told her that I loved her voice. She said, "Honey, knock it off. I'm in my 80s. I know bullshit when I hear it." That's the Estelle Harris story. I never thought we'd get an Estelle Harris story.
She passed away.
Yeah, she's gone. She was in her 90s when she died. So,
and Ray Romano's mom passed away.
She also passed away. Yeah.
And so did Peter Boyle, right?
Peter Boyle's gone too. Yeah. So when they do the reboot of that show, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But we have another show other than this one, Dave.
And especially this week, it's for those about to rock. We salute you.
That's right.
We've got the former drummer of AC/DC.
Yeah.
Chris Slade.
Chris Slade. He was the drummer for Tom Jones, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Can you do Stealin'?
No. What is Stealin'?
Yeah.
Is that a Tom Jones song?
No, it's a Uriah Heep song.
I think Indigata Devita is the only.
That's
is that not yet?
That's Iron Butterfly.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You're right. So
Manfred Mann's Earth Band, Uriah Heep. He was the drummer for AC/DC. Stealin'. Yeah. All right.
Do it in an Italian accent.
Stealin'. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, it's a stealin'. AC/DC.
Dude, Kermit the Frog, who's Italian, doing it.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
Okay, and with Henry Kissinger as
I'm not a monkey. I'm not a monkey.
Mr. President, via stealing, yeah.
Also, he was in the band The Firm, which
Jimmy Page, and the bad
Paul
company
Rogers and Tony Franklin, anyway,
which was really the coolest supergroup.
You'll hear all kinds of great stories. It's Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. It's out there right now, including, I will just give a teaser, including the first time that anyone threw a panty at Tom Jones, because he was there.
You're right.
He was in the room when it happened. Yeah. So if you want to hear that story, and who doesn't?
Exactly. Come on.
Go check out Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. All right, we have people to thank.
Yeah, we already thanked Tony Lasano, but he's so good. Let's thank him again. Tony Lasano.
Yeah, thanks to Tony, Opie Productions. We should also thank
Ed Silla,
the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Yeah. Great Talk Radio is not dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And now that we're back in the saddle here,
we've done like 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's about time we take a week off, right?
No, we're gonna come back.
We'll come back.
We're gonna come back again next week with a brand new episode of
Minutia Men.
The preceding
was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?